Well,
Oh, it's ready.
first and foremost, I'd like to thank you for coming on the show, taking the time out of your day. I know, you got a busy schedule, so I appreciate that.
Thank you for the insight. I appreciate you reaching out to me.
Yeah, of course. So you're where, Indonesia?
I'm in Bali. It's a tiny
Okay.
little island out of the 17,000 islands that Indonesia has. It's not even the capital, but if you can imagine Tulum, how people live in
Hmm.
Tulum is very diverse. A lot of foreigners living here, a lot of expats, and it's just nice little small islands with really diverse community, and fitness here right now is very, very booming, I would say, the past 3 4 years. Lots of new gyms, lots of retreats. It used to be just more yoga kind of retreat, and now it's like everything's fitness, everything's fitness. So it's really good spot for it.
Well, that's actually one of the things I was going to ask you is, how's the scene there? But you kind of already said that. But like, do you know what made that happen? Like, what precipitated that kind of boom? I mean, do you guys have a lot of like pros coming out of there, or people come to train there a lot? Like, what do you think it is?
Um, I think before the shift was this is very how do you call Bali is the only island in Indonesia that actually Hindu centric. The rest of the territory of Indonesia is like majority Muslim, and
Mm,
it's Islamic country.
mm,
So in this place, that's why like yoga is pretty popular. People
mm-hmm,
started coming here for that. It's very, very cultural, tiny, small little islands. Everything is beautiful. People coming here to do yoga, to do art. I guess it developed after certain years of that being the main attractions.
mm-hmm,
People that actually come here find the interest on they're living healthy lifestyle.
mm-hmm.
So it's very easy in Bali to produce and to just find good healthy food. That's one. And then after a while, that kind of people that already have this such a good healthy lifestyle, they kind of like we need gyms, we need more gyms, we need more gyms, and that's finally create that. And I think like because the healthy living standards here is so high, people also like people that have more like business minded people that coming in and like let's say like you know how like Thailand is the biggest fitness attractions in Southeast Asia
Mm-hmm.
at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Like people will think like we can compete with Thailand, that people will actually come to Bali doing a lot of fitness activities. I think that's where it started.
Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned
Yeah.
Thailand. I was just listening to uh Fuad's podcast, and Ian Valiant was on there, and
Mm-hmm.
he was saying he just got back from Thailand. So it's like it's a real, like, Thailand is a real popular place. If Bali can match them, they'll be good. It's good to have that competition, then people can choose.
I think it's there. I feel like 100% it's there. In Thailand, the main sort of attraction to some Muay Thai training is more like
Sure.
martial arts focused, I would say. But then here, it's just in general, like again, like people that really, really want to create that healthy lifestyle. So most of the gyms that opened recently, the first two big gyms, it was actually a martial arts gym, Bali
Hmm.
MMA, and then we have CrossFit Wanderlust that's really, really big. Now people would need more like that sort of how do you call health club, I would say,
Hmm.
like a nice gym where people can train, but like we have everything. Almost
Yeah.
every single gym will have ice baths, sauna, steam room, jacuzzi,
That's
and like
amazing.
the whole recovery space area is like the thing that you'll see in the massive 5-star resorts. And
Yeah.
almost every single gym here have that. And the growth within the last 2 years already is just already like 5 6 gyms popping out in all the same area. And this gym is not lacking any members at all. They're busy, busy. Like even my gym has been open for 4 years, not coming in 4 years.
Hmm.
She'll think like with the competition, it's gonna get less members, but it's actually not. It's still pretty packed.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, that's incredible. I mean, that's, and especially for you to be there and like kind of in that hub, in the heart of that is amazing. I was going to ask you, so how did you get into training and nutrition? Like when did that start for you?
Oh, it's a long journey actually. I started 15 years ago when I used to still live in England, in London. I was
Hmm.
in London before, and back then it's more sort of empowerment journey for me. I did not like anything that I had with my life. I was living very unhealthy lifestyles and in a very abusive relationship as well. And I found that going to the gym as more of a release, like the more I feel good about myself, the more I found sort of start developing my own identity. Like I could just be overtraining at the gym quite a lot, and then but the community is really great, right? You know how like people think you go to the gym and people will be feeling intimidated or anything. Like the gym, the first gym I went to, luckily it wasn't like that. People are just so friendly and
Yeah.
very motivating, very humble. They're not really how to say, they're not scared to help. They're very, very helpful. And like alongside that, that's when like, oh, I actually really enjoy the fitness in general. I've been enjoying training since I was a kid. I used to do martial arts from when I was a kid until first year of high school before I moved to Australia.
Hmm.
And then coming back to like the gym scene, it's more like, okay, I can do it. Like I really want to do it. And the gym that I went to at that time already offered me like a spot. Why don't you just everybody likes you here. You seem like I have a good energy. You seem you know what you're doing. If you get like certain qualification as a fitness coach and group exercise instructor, the job is there. So that's how I started coaching and being in the fitness industry, I would say.
That's amazing. And I do understand, like, a lot of times, like, your first impression, it makes a huge difference, right? And you going into a gym and having that good first impression, kind of moved you along to this journey where you're at right now, at a very high
Yeah.
level. And I hate when I see people like trying to intimidate others or not being helpful. It's
Mm.
such a terrible like way to be. And I think people forget, they were there at that point somewhere, sometime in their life too, and so it's like it's just I hate to see that.
It's like I feel like it's essential in everybody's journey to just recognize everybody starts somewhere, right?
Hmm.
And it's not just that at all. Like it's not just like being helpful of being not intimidating or anything, but I don't know, it's just meant to the environment where people get up every single day. Maybe their life is not perfect or whatever, or people that make that 1 hour spent time of the day, like that small amount of period on their day to go to the gym to feel better about themselves or to be better at something. Like everybody have their own goals, and like once you realize that nobody's actually paying attention to what you do, everybody's just there to get better for themselves,
Hmm.
whatever it is. Yeah, I think then then you feel like the vibe, and you feel the environment is more encouraging for you to do whatever it is that you need to do. But also that's different though. Like I know like some people will have like not such a great start in the beginning of their journey, right? In a lot of sense, like okay, having a bad experience in the gym that don't fit the vibes or what I'm experiencing right now. Bodybuilding in Indonesia or like especially in a small island like Bali, it's not big. So most of the gyms that are available here is more a lifestyle gym. So
Hmm.
people just come in, like create a community. It's a fun environment to get healthy, to get going, but
Hmm.
no one, I wouldn't say no one, it's like 1% of the people that actually know like the amount of work that bodybuilders or people in the bodybuilding industry
Hmm.
the amount of effort and work we need to put into, and like the environment has not been very supporting towards that.
Hmm.
I would say in Bali. So I hope it will grow in a few years from now. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it will. Just because there's places in the world that it kind of was like that. It started off like that. And then, and it just grew and people love bodybuilding there. I mean, I'm thinking there's, like years ago, like we weren't talking about Kuwait or anything like that. Now there's, you had so many people like coming out of the Middle East that are, as far as like, Hadi, you had Rami, you had like all these guys,
Yeah.
um, you
Yeah.
know, and and like when I was, younger years ago, it's like that didn't like we didn't think about that. Like nobody was coming out of those areas, at least not
Mm-hmm.
on the scene of the IFBB, And
Yeah.
so I think it will change. It just takes time, um, you're going to be part of that change, So,
Amen. Amen. I hope so. Like what if so my coach is building his own gym. It's gonna be
mhm.
more bodybuilding centric, I would say.
Yeah,
Gonna open by the end of this year, and we are already like having that focus on not promoting more bodybuilding. It's just having somewhere that bodybuilders can just focus on doing their bodybuilding, like
sure.
supporting towards that goal, I would say, with the nutrition, with the environment, how heavy we lift, and like how hard we train. Like we don't train for like just an hour. Sometimes like especially maybe as long as like 2 3 hours, and all the cardio sessions and everything else, and the recovery as well. Like we want to try to make it the new normal,
Hmm.
I would
Hmm.
say. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. It's an
Hmm.
exciting project though.
Yeah. Yeah, I've kind of run into like a situation like that where the local gym here, we had a Redcon gym and it
Mm.
closed down, and so it was a very bodybuilding friendly gym, and now I'm kind of stuck in this place where the closest bodybuilding gym is like quite a long way away, and so
Yeah.
I'm like, do I go to Planet Fitness? Do I go to
Yeah.
so where do
It's
I
more go? like this. It's more like every single gym over here. I wouldn't compare it to Planet Fitness, but you know what I mean. The vibes will be like
Yeah,
that.
it's
The
it's
vibes will
it's
be
very
like
different. Yeah.
everybody trains just for maintenance, and everybody just
Yeah.
training for
Yeah.
health, like having their own social community, all the bros training together, and they're more like socializing less than
Sure.
training.
Sure.
But yeah.
And the thing is, for me personally, and everybody's different, I get it, but for me personally, I enjoy being around other people that bodybuild and lift heavy and train hard and are focused. And I can tell by their physique that they're focused, because what that does is motivate me. And so, and it doesn't have to necessarily be like a guy, because I'm a guy. Sometimes I'll see women and they train really hard and that motivates me too. So it's difficult in a like a lifestyle gym, because you just you don't get the same charge from other people.
Oh,
Like it's
yeah,
just so
yeah,
different,
yeah.
so
100%. It's still really different. The vibes, the energy. It's like it contributes to the output that you do in the gym as well. Like
sure.
if
Yes.
if you really want to throw down and everybody's throwing down, lifting big weights, everybody's just grunting, screaming to failure. Whereas like compared to like a gym, you walk in, like it's playing pop music, and nobody's training. Like you're like there, like lifting to your last rep, like almost dying. Nobody even care. Like nobody comes there to like try to spot you because they know how hard it is, or like anything like that. So I think like the environment will play a lot on when you're like in that sort of mindset to help
Yeah.
people grow.
Yeah,
Yeah, 100%.
for sure. Like the way that you can like do a test is if you walk in and you don't hear plates clinking and like and weights
Yeah,
being like hit, and all the noise that like bodybuilding gyms make, then you're probably
yeah,
not at a gym for you. So yeah,
yeah,
for
one
sure.
hundred percent. yeah, you should know like which gym suits you in that sense. Yeah. Mhm.
How does you know, you have a very like strong physique. Obviously, you're an
Thank
IFBB
you.
you know, pro. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. But you know, in a
Mhm.
place where bodybuilding it you know, fitness is growing, but bodybuilding isn't, how is the population like treat you? Do you get a lot of stares, or you know, are you is it any different for you, or people just kind of, you know, just let you go about your day?
Um, it's a bit of both. Like just like the physique that I have, like even pre IFBB, it's already attracting a lot of attention in a lot of
Hmm.
cases. Like a woman coming up to me saying, "Oh my God, you look so
Hmm.
strong," or even men will say that as well. Or as I go more towards like not the area where I live, where I have a lot of gym and the fitness
Hmm.
is so much of a scene, like more local area, even the malls, like to go to watch movies. I can see people staring, or like ladies in a hijab will be like,
Yeah,
say something about
yeah,
me like to their kids or like
yeah.
whatever. Like I would say I get the look. Or like even in my social media, it's just like I don't know what it is with people just having to create a controversy of like you must be taking something. You're like, oh my
Hmm.
God, a girl with steroids, da 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 da. What you trying to promote? I'm like, I've never said I'm taking anything, and like all I'm posting is just all my training
Yeah.
videos. Why are you so bothered? It's still that kind of culture, but then because of like I wouldn't say ignorance, it's just like the lack of education and the lack of exposure of what bodybuilding it really is, right?
Yeah.
That also plays a part. And now that I'm a pro,
Yeah. Yeah.
nobody cares. Nobody cares. I get on with my day. I'm training the way I need to. Even like my workplace, it doesn't like I have like friends in Australia that just want their pro card. Like if they work at the gym will like kind of create um, a marketing based on
Mm.
surrounding that. Okay, train with an
Sure.
IFBB
Yeah. Yeah.
pro.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
here is not that much. You're just like, oh, whatever, same person. Like, it doesn't
Y-
really matter. It's not like, I wouldn't say it's not like massive accomplishment. It is,
mhm.
but it's not as recognizable as anything else.
Sure. Well, and
Yeah.
it makes sense because, like you said, it's still on the come up as far as bodybuilding is concerned. So, yeah, I have
Yeah.
a friend through Instagram, so not like a personal friend, but she just got her wellness pro card not that long ago. We're actually planning to do a show together. And in her gym, it's like they had a picture of her, like it was a big deal, and you know, of course, that's very
Yeah.
nice. It's very nice for her and to recognize her accomplishment, but also they kind of the gym's credit comes from, you know, all these pros that are in the gym training, you know, and become
Yeah.
pros training in that gym. So I totally get like what you
Yeah.
mean. Yeah. So
Yeah.
um you know, maybe one day the this
Maybe one day.
yeah.
There's still lack of that, I would say. Like, I don't mind though. Like, most people that recognize me at the gym will probably more people that like online coaches in fitness industry as well that come
Right.
in here for holiday and they just happen to bump into me at the gym. Oh, were you like that girl that just won a car? It's like, yes, like, yeah, mostly
Yeah.
like foreigners that actually come here.
For sure, for sure. So, you know, speaking about your pro card, we just kind of touched on that. When did you get it? You know, and on what show did you get it at?
I did it in Japan Olympia Amateur
Hmm.
Show, November 24th, just last year. That was actually my second show. And like the
Your
week
second
before
show?
that,
Did you say it was your
yeah, and
second show? That's awesome.
my first show was the week before in Manila, the AGP
Mhm.
show. Yeah, that was like it was NPC regional and pro
Mhm.
qualifier as well. I won both silver and gold medal in Manila, but I didn't get the pro card then. So
Mhm.
I'll continue to go the one the week after in Japan, and I got my pro card then.
Did you make any adjustments in the 2 weeks, or you just took the same package?
Same
I kn-
package. My coach
I know it's
was
only been
really,
one week, but I was wondering if
yeah.
you did anything else to like peak differently.
Um, Not at all.
Hmm.
Coach was my coach thought that I would be lacking size in Manila.
Hmm.
So peak week it was just quite a lot of carbs, like a lot. But it turns out I was like one of the biggest ones on the show,
Mm.
but still very conditioned.
Yeah.
I'm not lacking any condition whatsoever. So we're not really changing much to Japan. Like all of us asking my coach just a little bit more water during the show because I was cramping so bad post show in Manila, and I have to fly to Japan at the same on the same night. And like by the time I get to Japan, like my ankle was like swollen. I could barely
Oh
walk
my
in the
God.
airport. Like I could not walk at all. I thought like, oh my God, I tore my Achilles tendon or something. Like
It
how am
hurt
I
that
gonna do
bad,
this?
huh? Oh my gosh.
Like I couldn't walk. I was just like keep on crying at the airport. I was lucky I was with my partner at the time, so like we were planning to get to take the train from
Mm.
Narita to Tokyo, and then we're just like, okay, let's just grab a cab. Like
Yeah.
it's a good 2 days. I was just I can't. I really couldn't walk until I found someone that could help me in Tokyo, like to do a little bit of acupuncture to release it. It was just a lot of inflammation in the tendon, like post show in Manila, and then I start walking
So
okay-ish, but
so it didn't have anything to do with dehydration. It was just or
it
it
was
was
with the dehydration during that Manila show, like
got it.
yeah, big time. So the only thing that was changing, we're not water loading so much. So on the Japan on that week to Japan, it was just everything just normal. Calories stayed the same, cardio
Yeah.
protocols and
Yeah.
training protocols stay the same, just maintaining everything. And like yeah, during the day, during the show as well, it's like I can still drink
Mm.
water. It's like
Yeah.
Manila
Well,
show was like no water at
yeah.
all.
Well, obviously it worked. I mean, you got your pro card. How was it like when you
Give me water, then it
yeah,
works.
that's
I'll
it.
win.
Yeah.
No water, I can't win. That's what I told my coach. Like, see what happened when you give me water? No, just
He needs to
joking.
give
I'll
you
win
water
it.
every show now. Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope it will next time since I really can't do it with the dehydration. It's so bad. Yeah,
So
things
when
you got
you
to do for a show, huh?
right. When you won your pro card, like when they announced you, you knew you won. Like, how did you feel? Do you remember? Like, were you just ecstatic? Did you was it kind of unbelievable? Like, how did you, feel about it when they
It was,
announced it?
uh, well, it's just more of relief more than anything else.
It's what?
It
I'm
was just
sorry.
more, it's just more like of a relief feeling
Relief.
more than anything else.
Mhm.
It's not like, oh my God, like, it's not that joyous, ecstatic feeling. It was just like, oh, I've done it. It's
Yeah.
over. Okay,
Yeah.
let's go. And it's also because, well, people get into this bodybuilding journey, their bodybuilding journey for their own reason, right?
Mm.
I had my own reason, and like it was just taking up on challenge for me as an athlete. Before bodybuilding, I was doing powerlifting for 10 years to
Mm.
the point in 2022 last year, until 2022, I was still training and competing with the national Indonesian team. So it was just a big change of career based on like where I want to go in the future.
Yeah.
And like it was more when I approached my coach, it was like a lot of consideration knowing that I've never done it before, and I kind of know like the amount of effort and hard work and what the journey sort of like from all my friends who've been competing in bodybuilding before, but it's still not 100% that was for me. So when I get into the competition mentally, like I wasn't, my goal wasn't a pro card.
Mm.
My goal was just I'm trying to bring the best package I could bring as an athlete because I have been an athlete anyway. So I'm always like, I think my coach would know, like, he's always like thinking of me. I'm more like a soldier, like, I'm
Mm.
doing a guidelines and protocol. I'll do it. I'll do 100%. Like, I don't complain about anything. Like, I don't complain about my cardio. I don't complain about the lack of carbs. But like I don't complain about, like, unless I blew out my knees. I did blow out my knees, and like I got really really sick at some
Yeah.
point. Like everybody on prep, right? And
Yeah.
like it's not until it's been 2 3 days that I did not stop vomiting with fever, blah 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 blah. Like I wouldn't tell my coach.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just like that. So
Does that
when
does
I
that
win the
does that come
yeah.
from your powerlifting background, that you're kind of disciplined,
Mm.
or you think that's more just your character in general?
I think that's just my character in general.
Hmm.
My
Hmm.
powerlifting days, like with training and everything, it was actually way more chill than
Oh,
with
okay.
training
Yeah, we're
now,
just
I would
like
say.
one
Oh,
rep
like
done. That's
it's completely not in that sense. We're still training really, really hard, but it gets to
yeah.
the point that I'm coaching as well, and my main focus on coaching my clients is more pre and post rehabilitation for injuries,
Mm.
and then towards strength and performance because of my powerlifting background. But I have like a gymnastics background as well.
Yeah.
So like for let's say I had a coach that created my program for my powerlifting. He was just like giving me the program for the whole year. I've never trained with him. We never do any check-in or anything like that. And if I got injured, I'm free to how to call adjusting the program how I wanted,
Mm.
not like how I, it's not how I wanted to, as necessary as it would
Right.
towards my rehabilitation progress. So it's just in times that things need a lot of changing because I've already have my patellar tendonitis on both knees for years, and then I tore my labrum in 2022 as well.
Mm.
Things are always changing with powerlifting just because the amount of like training and the amount of load. Like it is a boring kind of type of work because that's
Yeah.
the only thing that you do with the tiny little accessories. But again, because I can just adjust as necessary through every different phases, then
Mhm. Yeah.
it's a little bit more chill for me. Whereas like I think in bodybuilding, that doesn't really that doesn't leave that much room for
Mhm.
adjustment in any protocols at
Sure.
all. Like so it's because you're like have a very sensitive period amount of time for you to be able to gain in your improvement season, and then to cut during that period, which is
Mhm.
only like normally 20 19 weeks, right? So
Mhm.
there's not there's not a lot of errors that you can
Yeah.
make in that certain amount of time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like protocols will still be the same. So if you're actually lagging behind for a few days or a few weeks during your cut because you're really sick, that could change the total package by the end of the day. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's
And
so
those,
good.
yeah, and those errors, like in bodybuilding, it doesn't matter really where like they are. Like you could have a major issue in the beginning and it could completely derail your prep, or you could be fine for the majority of the time and something happens in that last like 2 3 weeks, and then
Yeah.
it completely changes your package. So yeah, it's bodybuilding is like it's very like I always tell people it's a precision sport. Like it's very precise, and any any
Oh,
any deviation can make or break you. So
especially towards the end, right? When
yeah.
like every single variable that you have within your nutrition, like your water, your salt, like it gets to the point that it needs to be changed daily. So again, there's not much room for error when you get to that stage.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So on your prep for your eventual pro card, how do you train? Coming
Mm-hmm.
from that weightlifting background, or that powerlifting, I should say, background, do you train heavy when you prep for bodybuilding as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. My baseline is pretty heavy already.
Yeah.
So
I love to
um
hear that.
learn learn well that's the gift, right? Like you
Right.
don't want to start from zero where like when people are thinking like hypertrophy is just more rep less weight. It's not that, I feel like everybody needs to build that a good strength base so you can take it to the maximum. And like I've learned that hypertrophy is also it's just progressing and like towards different type of intensity, like bringing that intensity in every single type of training. And therefore, I don't know if you're pro or against this, like when people say like you need to train to failure.
Uh-huh.
My sort of training is a lot of like 95% of them is training to failure
Training to
on the
failure.
top
Yeah.
set, on the back off set. So yeah, it's like it's pretty heavy. So even the top set, it would just the top set will allow me to still gain a lot of strength to lift heavy. And
Mm.
then when using like the back of set or the intensifier to add more volume towards the hypertrophy. That's the
Yeah,
goal.
the way
So
I yeah, the way I train is similar to that. So basically I will have like a set of, like let's say I'm doing 4 sets. I will work my
mm-hmm.
way up to like the heaviest weight I can do, and then I'll do a couple of
Yeah.
more sets where I'm doing a moderate weight but just high volume. That way I can get both. I can get the heavyweight portion of the
Mm-hmm.
movement, and then I can also get
Yeah.
the volume too. So I don't see why you would ever just do like one or the other. I think combination of both is where it's at. So
Yeah. And even like training like that for a year, I've already seen so much different in my body in a lot of way, like
mhm.
strength wise, hypertrophy wise as well. So yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah,
We need
yeah.
to train both ways. Yeah.
Did you ever have trouble like with your diet? Are you a person that, just loves to eat and can't get enough, or like are you pretty good with cutting things out?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think oh my god, where should I start? I used to have an eating disorder from since I was in
Mm.
teenage years until I was 26 actually.
Oh my
So I
goodness.
wouldn't say I did not have the best relationship with food in a lot of sense. But then dealing with it and it will still come up from time to time, like that urge to binge or the urge to just, I'm sorry to say, like just naturally want to vomit if I eat a
Mhm.
lot, or it still come up, but then that doesn't negate like the actual goal because I think again the type of personality that I am, once I put my mindset on something, it's easier for me to just like
Mhm.
work it and like I tick 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 tick.
Yeah.
It's just not like that. It's easier for my brain to do that, and like therefore like even though I don't have the best relationship with food, I can still manage to diet down or like to bulk up as necessary. I would say it was actually harder for me to eat a lot during my bulk. I think last year, in the end of my bulk, I would need to get to around 3,800 calories at that point, and I'm
So
five
you
six.
how much?
3,800, like
So almost
I'm
4,000
5 foot,
calories. That is a
almost 4,000. It was just like,
that is a
every
lot.
2 hours of food and then this and then that. Just the sickly feeling of everything just sitting in my gut, right? And like that it was like naturally like your body always like reacting in a way of like obviously you want to vomit the whole time and then
Yeah.
but then my brain will like recall back to like how I was before. Oh, is it me when I was sick? Is it me when I was unwell? It's coming back again. What is it? But just now that I experience it, I can totally separate and like tell the
Yeah.
difference between what it is when it's like mentally challenging and the mental hardness that come up, or if it's actually just my body reacting with the amount
Yeah,
of
yeah,
food.
I never thought about that aspect that you brought that up. But I never thought about the fact that there could be confusion between like issues of just your body reacting to the amount of food versus, you being concerned that this problem is, is coming up again. It's like I never thought about that fact. That's such an interesting way to put it. But I guess you would have to like because I can imagine that's scary, that when you're having those feelings like, oh my goodness, am I having this issue again? I imagine
Mm-hmm.
that's a very scary feeling to have.
Yeah, it was very concerning because, like, again, it's something that I've tried to tackle along my teenager until my
Mhm.
adulthood, right? So when things starting to coming up and to resurface, you question a lot of things, and like, but you also want to be very goal oriented of like, how am I gonna tackle it in another way? Because like, if I chose to be in this position that I know I need to eat certain amount of food, maybe like most of the food that I don't like,
Mhm.
and I have to stuff myself, and then after I'm gonna have to deplete myself. What mindset am I gonna carry towards that? And like, I just like thankfully towards like years and years of like being in a therapy, like having the self awareness to
Yeah.
again differentiate. Like, it's just like when you're in therapy for other things, like for PTSD, for depressions or anxiety, for other things, you need to separate like what is reality and what is
Yeah.
just things that going on in your head, right?
Right.
I
Right.
think like I think now in this sense it's more like what is like the actual physical reactions of like
Hmm.
this food that I brought into myself, and like what is the mental reactions for it? Is
Right.
it
Right.
just, it's always kind of have that question with myself, well, if I eat this and I feel like this, is it normal? If the answer is yes, then like, okay, I'm meant to feel
Mhm.
like this. Of course, it's not easy for like a 5 foot something girl or like anybody that like used to have like a really low body weight to eat that amount of calories. Of course, you're gonna feel lethargic. Of course, you're gonna feel sleepy all the time. Of course, your digestive system is not gonna feel great and working like 100% in a lot of sense. So you need a lot of like the additional supplements, the additional
Mhm.
rest for it, and like if I know again, like if my mindset's already in the end of the day, like I know like the biology of it and like how the physiology of it of when you're building muscles, the body works so hard that of course you're gonna get tired, of course you're gonna feel lethargic, of course you're gonna feel sleepy, and then the kind of like just more the acceptance of things, and
Mhm.
like kind of like just keep on reassuring in my head that this is not what it is, unless like the two different things that I noticed throughout my journey, like conquering my eating disorder as well, like there's a lot of guilt that kick in normally when you start vomiting again. Like I'll go out at night with my friends eating like lovely food on a birthday party or whatever. I feel great. I feel like not guilty whatsoever. Went to bed and woke up at 2 a.m. starting to
Mm.
like naturally just vomiting like in the
Yeah.
bathroom, in that sense, okay, like this is what my therapist told me, like realizing where's that trigger coming from. Okay, the back of it, there's guilt. Like
Mm.
if like when I'm eating towards like the diet and the bodybuilding, like everything has a goal, right? So I guess it makes it easier for me to accept things the way it is. So if
Yeah.
I'm vomiting, that probably just like I probably my body's just not feel that comfortable
Yeah.
at this moment. Am I still going towards that goal? Like, if I'm in the right path, then if the answer is yes, then there's nothing to be worried about. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good way that you explain that. And I think it's important because especially for people that might be watching this that are dealing with the same things. And I told you, I think we talked in the past where I said that I'm taking some I'm pursuing a medical degree. And
Yeah.
the one thing that they talk about with bulimia and anorexia, I thought it would be like a physical problem, but they classified under like a mental, issue. And so, like to your point about like what's deeper, what's under the physical activity that's making you feel like you want to do this. And sometimes you might not even be aware of it until you speak with somebody like like a therapist and so forth. So I think, and it's very common, unfortunately, for young girls to. I mean, men can have it too. Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
Of
a
course.
high percentage for young girls to deal with this. So it's. I mean, I'm glad that things are. better for you now. Sometimes, sometimes people, never get over, these kind of things. And so, yeah, for sure. So you said you were eating 3,800 calories. How,
Yeah.
what were, I'm just curious, like, what would you eat to get those calories in?
Ooh, a lot of cream of rice. A lot of cream of rice, a lot of like whey as supplements, a lot of rice actually. And I'm like, I know I'm Asian, but because I'm not being like I was being brought up in in Jakarta, like where
Uh,
my parents is, which is the capital city of Indonesia,
mhm.
until I was 16, and then I moved to Australia, right? And then like I've never liked rice, like even though I'm Asian.
Oh,
And
really?
now, yeah, and now I get to the point on that 3,800 calories that I was eating 800 grams of white rice. Like,
That's insane.
it's like
Wow.
almost, it's like 200 grams less of a kilo, right? And I was just
Yeah.
like, like thinking to myself, like, why this is so bad from like, I do not like rice. I guess like it heals my relationship with rice to a certain
Yeah, I
degree.
guess so.
I
I
was just
guess
looking
so.
at it like that. I was just looking at it like that. I was just like, oh my God, the amount of rice. I wouldn't say I've finished everything all the time. Like I'm struggling. It's just like you get to the
Mm.
point that like like you have a spoonful, you have a sip, you have a spoonful, you have a sip. I was just like, get it down, and you can't sit down because you need to walk around because otherwise you just sit there and you're feeling like it was just so hard because like with the timing of it as well. Like if I woke up a little bit later because I'm tired or whatever the reason is, you're stacking your eating time to later and later and later, right? So it gets to
Yeah.
the point where I finished my second last meal about 8 or 9 p.m. and then I can't finish like my last meal. Then I have to I'm gonna go sleep first, and I put alarm on. 2 hours later, I woke up like anything before midnight, like 11 p.m. Finish that meal, go back to bed, and you woke up 5 a.m. still feeling so full, and here you are having like 80 grams of oats with whey, with bananas, and with almond butter and everything else in the world. And it's just
That-
like, oh, that was tough. That was really tough. Yeah.
did you see a lot of progress, a lot of muscle building during that time that when you were putting on that weight?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely, definitely. I think just also because I've been training for quite a while, so muscle maturation wasn't like a big question for me whether
Hmm.
or not I'm gonna have to diet. So it was just more about fine tuning the areas that I would feel will contribute for me having a better package at the stage on the
Hmm.
stage. Yeah, it was just that because like for example, like I'm in wellness right now. Yes, my legs have been really big because I'm doing powerlifting and
Hmm.
everything else, but then I've never trained glutes in my life.
Hmm.
So I spent last year just developing my glutes, and thank God it was there because I was worried it's not gonna be there. It was like that. It was like that. It was just like it gets to the point when how it is like because the lower body area is the
Yeah,
one
yeah.
that store the most fat. So it's not until I'm 5 weeks into the show that you can start seeing like the line
Right, right.
separation and everything. I was just like, I think me and my coach at some point 5 weeks out, that's when we're like, oh, thank God, the glutes is there.
The-
The glutes is there because you don't want it to be like, oh, okay, I'll just have that all stack of tissues to be carrying, and then
yeah, yeah.
when I'm start cutting the body fat, it's actually not there. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
so
that's that's the thing for me too that's kind of irritating is like when people when people are like, oh my, I'm so and so, pounds like off season, or my legs or arms are like this big off season, and I'm like, but like we don't know what you really have until you get down to like body fat percentage that is,
yeah.
reasonable. So it's like you can't really say, what you look like until until you get to that point. But if you're training hard and you're putting in the work, then it's a good chance that everything will be there like it's supposed to. So, for sure.
Mm. Yeah, I do have like certain girls that I'm inquiring like if I think as a coach it would be good for them to pursue bodybuilding in bikinis most of the
Hmm.
time, right? They've been training for 5 years, 6 years, 10 years, but then I would say I would still tell them, advise them. I know you're gonna look great in towards on the stage, but what is it your goal actually to hit the
Hmm.
stage, right? Are you willing to pursue this in bodybuilding, or you just most girls just want to see like how lean they'll get. You know what
Hmm.
you
Yeah,
know what I'm
yeah,
talking about,
yeah.
right? It's like just the whole experience to have like this stage show look, like
Right.
how they can achieve that. But then I'll be like, I'm not gonna be sending anyone or advising anyone that don't want to go through the bulking process first before the
Hmm.
cut. And they'll be like I don't want to go through the bulking process. Like I've
Yeah.
been training like my whole life. I've been training this and this and this. And it's just like, but at the stage that you are right now, 15-20% body fat, I can't really see where your muscle mass are, like in which
Right.
places that it needs to be developed. So if you don't get through it and we're just like, okay, talk to me later 20 weeks out, then like I'll prep you for the show and you
Hmm.
just in the end of the day you diet down and then you have no muscle to show, then
Yeah.
we're both gonna be looking at each other as like, okay, you're skinny now, happy,
Yeah.
like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's just that. I think muscle maturity plays a big role on everybody's like how to call muscle mass retention and like gains, I would say.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's one of those things where, and you as a coach too, you want to, just like you do for yourself, you want to bring the best package you can bring. You also want to bring the best package you can bring on your client. And if you know that
Yeah,
they're not in a position or they're not willing to, to do it, it's going to make you look bad. If you bring somebody in
100%. Yeah.
that's not even, doesn't look like they should even be there. And that's, that happens with bikini a lot, like as far as like amateur bikini, because a lot of girls that are thin, they think that that's, they can just jump on stage, and and in reality, I mean, even in bikini, those girls train very hard. It's not, they're not,
Oh my god. My
so
pro bikini friends, they're jacked of bees and they're either as big as me or they're bigger than me.
yeah.
They're jacked.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, I know
you
some
know,
of them are really
they
jacked.
don't look yeah, they don't look they're actually like when you're comparing those amateur bikini girls that you mentioned before, like we already have the image in our
Hmm.
head like how they are day to day at the gym, right? It's two differently, completely different looks than the pros, bikini pros of season actually. Like
Yeah,
I'm like, they train. Their legs are massive, their glutes are massive, their shoulders, like they
yeah,
have that mass, like they have so much mass that like when you want to gonna cut down the body fat as low as sub 10%, then there's still like something to show there, and there's
for sure.
shape. There's yeah.
Yeah, well, Tara, I was a while back. I saw a picture of a girl, and she was, I can't remember who it was or anything like that, but it was on her Instagram, and her shoulders and her like upper back, because she had like a tank top on, and I thought for sure I was looking at a seasoned figure girl. No, she was, and when I looked deeper into it, she's bikini. I'm like, but
Yeah.
that's when I realized, I was like, these girls have a lot of muscle. Like if people think that they can just walk in and it's not a beach like body contest. It's a bodybuilding
Yeah,
contest. So
yeah.
yeah.
I think I think because now it's getting overly saturated with like all the competitions, all the smaller federations as well, and everything that's going
Mhm.
on. Like they don't understand how what the judges actually looking for, what's the actual um what you call
Right, like criteria of it.
criteria of the category, like
Mhm.
if they totally completely miss it. I think like the scales that would think they'll be able to just hit the stage like that, they're just gonna be amateurs.
Yeah.
Like they'll still be amateurs for years and years and years until they actually understand what it takes to get to the pro level.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. They're not going to win national shows to in like in that kind of condition and that kind of look, it's that's for sure. So, now that you have your pro card, what's next? Like you have plans? Are you planning for a pro show sometime? Are you just gonna,
Um,
grow?
yeah, I'm planning for a pro show, not anytime soon. Just um starting my off season, like improvement season, just 2 weeks ago. Actually, start eating a lot again, turning heavy again.
3,800 calories
So
again.
not yet. Thank God. Thank God. Or started easy. We started 27 now, like 2,700 calories to begin with. I know it's gonna increase. I'm just not looking forward for this, but like it's already there. Like the increase of the weight and like my performance at the gym, like with the overload is already
Mhm.
improving, even like 2 weeks and a half. My goal is pro debut end of this year in November, October, November, I would say. So looking for more pro league in Europe,
Mhm.
not in the States just yet.
Yeah, yeah. That's
So
it's a long
looking
long trip to the US
very
for you.
long and like and also for Indonesians to get a visa to get to the States, it's really hard. It's
Yeah.
really, really hard. They make it very difficult for us,
I
unfortunately.
wonder
Um,
why. I don't know
but
why
I
it's so
don't
difficult.
know. I guess it's like they still see us as like a majority of Muslim country or whatever that is.
Yeah,
So
that's probably yeah, go
it's
ahead.
part of it. I think that plays bigger part than if we're actually like a third world country or whatsoever. Like I
Yeah.
don't believe so, but like I guess with everything that going on 9/11 and things like that, and how like the shift like focused
Yeah.
on like okay
Well,
Muslims are bad, so just
well,
yeah I
that
think it's part of it. But
that's why I mean, think Hadi is every year, even though he's won the Olympia, even though he goes back to Iran every time, and everything, is fine. He still has trouble getting visas to compete, even up to this point, even. So yeah, I totally get what you
yeah,
mean. But yeah, so you're
yeah,
gonna
even
do a
at that level.
you're gonna do a pro show in Europe. Yeah, any like, do you have a specific show in mind, or are you just gonna shoot for November and whatever is available?
I have 3 shows in mind that just want to keep it as an option. So probably ended up just doing 1 show or 2 shows and
Got it.
see how close I am towards it and like what package that I can bring. If it's like too close, then I'll do the next show. But if everything's good from the first show, then I can just continuing on.
Mhm.
Looking at Portugal, Spain, and Czech Republic, I think.
Check. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Those
Yeah,
shows.
that's good. Well, the good thing about Europe is everything is like, fairly close, give or take. So
Yeah,
you can do all those shows, and not have to worry about too much as far as travel is concerned.
yeah.
Yeah. So if you win one of those shows, let's say you win one, are you and you are those Olympic qualifiers too? All
One
pros?
of them, yeah. No, not all of them. I think one of them is Olympic qualifier.
Okay.
Well, um, I know myself as an athlete, but I have like my own insecurity issues that you know what I mean. Like I
Uh,
know, like let's say, let's say, like what I said before, like I came into bodybuilding my first couple of shows that I just really wanted to win to push myself in this new environment and new sort of challenging sport for me. But then like he always believes like, okay, you're gonna get a pro card, you're gonna get a pro card, like
hmm.
no shit. Like he's also the type that doesn't show emotion much or like give compliments easily. So
Hmm.
it's like he told me once I got my car, it's just that see like when I know like it's just like I was just like oh okay, and he wants me to go through yeah hopefully getting the Olympic qualified end
Yeah.
of this year.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
also I have another reservation in mind though because unlike this girl that jumped into the bodybuilding industry and the competition world like quite early. I'm hitting the age right now that I have other priorities in my life
Yes.
that I want to do. So I was still like, okay, I guess we'll see. If I get the Olympia
Hmm.
qualified by the end of this year, then obviously I'll be doing the Olympia the year after. But if not, I'll probably take a break first because yeah, it's just
Yeah,
personal reasons. Like
sure.
I'm 36 by the way,
Oh,
so
you're 36. See, you have the same thing that when I was talking to Julia, it was like I couldn't tell how old Julia was. The same thing, I couldn't tell how old you are.
Asian
It's yeah, yeah,
genes.
that's what she told me. She's like, it's an Asian thing. I said, okay.
It's
Well,
very
because
similar.
she started talking about kids, and I was like, I didn't even know you had like I didn't know if you were like at that age where you have like a whole family, but apparently, she wasn't. So yeah,
Yeah,
I had no idea that you were 36. Yeah, that's I thought you were
yeah.
much younger.
Oh,
But
thank you.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Fortunately with Julia, she has that already. She has the kids, so it's just overcoming getting back to things, right? Whereas like
mm.
I'm planning to have a kid, and pretty much biologically I'm running out of time. So
Hmm.
uh, either I'm gonna need to
That's
put that
yeah,
soon,
that
or yeah.
that's
So that's
totally
a lot.
understandable. Yeah, that's totally understandable. And I mean that comes before, before bodybuilding for sure, So
100%.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know we're, running to out of time and you got to get out of here. I was going to ask you one quick question. Do you keep up with
Yeah.
other shows? Do you keep up like with the Arnold coming up and everything like that or
Yeah. Yeah.
okay.
Arnold. Yes. Yeah.
Do you think Fran is gonna take the win, Francielli, or do you
Oh,
think
well,
somewhat?
she wasn't. She was never in Arnold before, no. Like,
I
it was
think
always
she,
just
yeah, I
Issa,
think she
Cat
got her
last
pro
year.
card, yeah, at the Arnold though years ago, but yeah,
Mm.
this is her first time. Hmm.
Mm, I don't know. That's very difficult. That's very difficult. Issa won last year, right? I really want Issa to win. To be honest,
Yeah.
I know Francielli is like more like the epitome of like what wellness is.
Hmm.
And she's doing great. She's amazing, but yeah, I want to see like kind of like Issa always tripping in there. She's always back to back, kind of one like the underdog to
Yeah, yeah.
rise up again for once. So I'm always up for the underdog. I think like also Issa and Francielli, that's like when we're talking about the what the judges are looking for in the criteria of wellness, that these two really portrays that. So I can see
Mm.
like why the judges did decisions of like having them two and was it Alisa on the
Hmm.
third on the Olympia?
I believe so.
Um,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah. As the winner instead of Ryan, for example, like Ryan
Hmm.
came fourth. I believe like Ryan, like wow, she
Yeah,
looks mind blowing, wow. But then if the shape, like her upper body still a little bit too big, like compared to Elisa, for example, to make
yeah.
it that top three. So I guess like the judges sent a really clear message on the Olympia of
Mhm.
like the kind of what they're actually
Look, they're
looking
going
for the
for.
division. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, 100%. Yeah. So
yeah.
yeah, but I really want Issa to win
Yeah,
again
it would be
on that.
interesting because if Issa, I think they both have, great looks, but it'd be interesting because if Issa beats Fran at the Arnold, it really sets up a very interesting Olympia, and
Of
so because
course.
she's never, she's never beat her at ever, and
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Fran never competed in the Arnold. So it would be it's gonna be a really good show all across the board, so
Yeah, I think about like Issa and Francielli. Like I don't know. Do you think like she brought the same package as the year before in the
Issa
at the
or
Olympia?
Fran.
Um,
Fran, I feel like she was better the year before. I feel like she was better
right?
the year before. I'm trying to remember her look, but I feel like when I was watching the last Olympia, I wasn't sure if she was gonna win. Now she did, obviously, but I wasn't sure because I thought her package from the year before was better. It was
Yeah.
tighter. She was it looked like she was more round the year before in the all in the right
Yeah.
places. So I don't know, I don't know if it was a peak issue? I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know if it's an age issue,
I think like both, like if for me either like she was better the year before,
Hmm.
or she doesn't have that much improvement this last year.
Hmm.
But then Issa's improvement from the year before to the last Olympia was like
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I think that's why like I really want her to win, or like get acknowledged for like all the hard work. I'm not saying fun
Right,
work
right.
less harder than everybody else, but you know, like it's good when you see like major improvement in athletes that actually working really hard to fit the criteria and like really take in the feedback that they get from the judges, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a matter of time before Issa is your Olympian, champion.
Mm.
I think it's just a
Yeah.
matter of time. I don't know if it's going to be this year or next year, but it's coming. It's just because you can tell she's like going on the upward trajectory every year,
Yeah.
and so,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, as long as she stays healthy, doesn't injure herself or anything like that, she should
Mm-hmm.
be, winning soon. So, yeah.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting year.
Yeah. Well, Tara, thank you so much for coming on the show. Again, greatly appreciated. I know you got a client, I think, waiting for you. So,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
So
Yes. Yes.
thanks again. And
Thank you again. Thank you again for the insights. I'm really enjoying our conversation.
yeah, it was great. It was great. And guys, I'm gonna link everything with Tara, with regard to Tara at the bottom, how to contact her if you need coaching or anything else as far as fitness is concerned. And yeah, Tara, take care. We'll talk again.
Take care.
See
Have a
you.
nice evening.
You too. Bye.
Bye.